Hi everyone, hope you're having a good weekend. We're going to be going over week 9 in this video. It's hard to believe we're already more than halfway through. So there are just a few things that you are doing this week. Research log 7 will be our last research log, and it will be a little bit different, and I'll show you that when we get to that. So research log 6, you are looking in the Atlantic. So let me just show you, as I said here, the Atlantic has recently set up a paywall. So make sure that if you click on an article, it's something that you're pretty sure you might want to use, so that you don't run up against that paywall. You can always access it through the library, but it's a little more difficult to find the Atlantic through it. So you can either limit the amount that you click on, or you can clear your history or try different browsers. Sometimes those things work if you go over your limit. So what you're going to do with the Atlantic is you'll see this little search bar here. So you're going to search within the Atlantic. Okay, so this magazine is, most students really like the sources that they find here because they are written for a more general audience, but they are still in depth. So there's a lot of good in-depth articles that are very readable. So hopefully you're able to find something that works for your topic there. Also, I wanted to mention, please be sure if you are behind on commenting on anyone in your group's research logs, to go back and do those. You will, all of the group members will do an engagement rating at the end of the semester to anonymous, well, it's not anonymous in that I will see it, but no one else will see the ratings they give the other group members, and you will be giving a holistic score to each group member on how involved they were in the peer review process throughout the inquiry project. So please be sure that you are staying up to date with commenting on your group members' research logs. Now, you're only responsible for doing that if your group members have that research log done on time. Okay, so you don't have to go back and check if they've turned stuff in late, but if it's there when it's supposed to be on time, you should be posting your comments in the Google Comments feature. All right, so at this point, once you have done research log 6, we're going to do this activity called organizing sources for the reader's guide. So eventually, when you look at the reader's guide, you will see that one thing that you're in charge of as the editor is that you will be creating the order and categorization of your sources. So you're not just going to present them in the order that they currently are in the research log. Your job as editor is going to be to figure out what sources would best come first, middle, last, and how you might categorize those sources in terms of putting them into groups that you would name. Okay, so what I want you to do is you can do, you're going to have these materials in some form. So if you want to just cut up some scraps of paper, that's fine as well. And you want to have 9 pieces of paper, sticky notes, index cards total. So on each card, you will have this information. So you just put the title of the source, abbreviated version is fine. You don't need to put the citation or anything. And then 1 or 2 sentences about what that source is about. And any other notes that you want to consider about that source. And this is for your benefit, things that you want to, that you think are most important about that source. And then you're going to arrange your cards into groups or categories. So you should have 7 total. Even though I'm asking you to have the 8th and 9th cards, you'll see I want you to leave those blank for now, and you'll see why later. But you'll have 7 cards, 1 for each source that you have found so far. And then you want to arrange them into groups or categories. The one caveat is that your categories cannot be for or against, pro, con, positive, negative, So putting your sources into those groups is too simplistic and doesn't recognize the more complicated nature of your topic. And this also falls back into that thesis-driven way of thinking about your research. And remember, we're doing inquiry-based research, which recognizes more of the complicated nature of each topic. So here is an example. So I have a couple examples here. So you can see this student had 3 categories. I would say 3 categories is usually what most people have. 2 seems to be a little too little. 4 tends to be a bit much, but if you need a 4th one, you can. Okay, so you can see their categories here. Yeah, so I suggest 3 categories, but if you have reasons to put more than 3, then that's fine as well. So you'll have another, you'll put the remaining cards into the group or category that seems unfinished. So these 2 remaining cards, the 8th and the 9th, are going to be the last 2 sources that you want to find. And you want to think about where are there gaps in your research that you would want another source. So maybe you've only got 1 source in your first category and you would want to find 1 more source there, or maybe 2 more sources there. So make a note on that card of what search terms or questions you would want to look for those 2 final ones. Also, you'll notice that this student has a discard category. So if you look ahead to the the reader's guide, eventually you only need 8 sources. So that gives you a little wiggle room that if you feel like there's one source that's really not working for you anymore, you can get rid of it. So if that's the case for you, you can create a discard category and put that source there. But you don't have to. If you like all your sources, you don't have to get rid of one. All right, so what you're going to do is make sure you take a picture of your work to submit it to the assignment. Okay, and then make sure that you have done all these things to meet the assignment goals. And this should actually say 7 sources, so I will change that. So let me know if you have questions about that, but this is setting you up for the collection of sources in the reader's guide. All right, and then this also helps you with your final research log 7. Okay, so this research log 7, you need to do the organizing sources activity first, okay, and you want to try to fill in the gaps. So you're finding 2 new sources. You can use any of the previous research logs. You can use any of the research methods we've done in previous logs, and you can use notes or hyperlinks within one of your other sources, or you can use, now we didn't do this research highlights parlor because that's something I do with my face-to-face class, but you can, if there's a source that one of your group members use that you really like, you can go ahead and use that source too. All right, so please pay attention to the formatting for this one, and that you're having 2 sources. All right, so similar to your first research log. And instead of an editor's commentary, you're going to, at the end, do a rhetorical analysis, basically, of your topic so far. All right, so you're going to talk about each of these components, and this is really to help you start looking forward to the reader's guide. Okay. And you'll update your table of contents and submit the link for research log 7. And then finally the studio is called composing processes. So everything is pretty self-contained with the studio, and most students really enjoy this article, Shitty First Drafts by Anne Lamott. It's a pretty well-known essay. And so you're submitting the quotes from your readings from steps 2 and 3, and then a reflection from step 4. Okay, so this is to help us as we are getting ready to start writing aspects of the Reader's Guide next week. Okay, so please let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you all have a great week.